We've got 11 games on Wednesday. Let's go through them. Let's look at streaming options. Let's talk about what we need to talk about. Let's listen to Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and pineapples go on pizza, hot dogs are not sandwiches, and bread is not a cake, or the opposite of those, depending on how your belief system works. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $20 off your first purchase. Check out LockedOnDaily.com as well for your favorite team's best newsletter. Check that out and subscribe over there, and of course, double bang and subscribe and thumb and leave your comments all down below here. I'm going to try and rush through this because I'm running late on getting this show out. It's okay, there's 11 games on. Took a lot of stuff to go through and prepare and all of that sort of junk. Let's just do it. First game, we're looking at Boston, Indiana. This is for Wednesday. Of course, I'll go through all the information that we know. The Celtics are 7-point favorites here. The Celtics go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday with 4 games next week. And the Pacers just 2 more games this week. Wednesday, Friday with 4 the following week. Porzingis is out, and it looks like Slam and Sammy Hauser is set to return. While a surprise on the Indiana Pacers? The Indiana Pacers injury report, Miles Turner, questionable with an ankle sprain. So, what are we watching for? Well, on the Boston side, I want to watch Jason Tatum. Just had some free throw issues through the season, but he's been really good. It's more just about balancing the percentages there, but I want to see Isaiah Jackson, because last game, he had 5 blocks. He played 22 minutes. Turner had foul trouble. I don't mind a preemptive ad. If Turner's going to miss a game, Jackson's a clear 12-team league player. Clear. So if you wanted to make a preemptive ad because Turner's got that questionable tag, do it. In terms of other streamers, well, Sam Hauser's probably the guy that's available in the most spots for Boston. His return will have some sort of an impact, I'm guessing, on old mate Peyton Pritchard. So go ahead and have a look at that. The second game of the day, as we try and rapid fire through this stuff, Toronto and Cleveland. There's a lot of things happening in Toronto, though. The schedule for both teams, they go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday this week, and 4 games next week. But Scotty Barnes is out, Kelly Olynyk is out, Bruce Brown is out, Jacoby Walter is out, and Emmanuel Quickley is doubtful, which also means out. Brandon Miller is out on Charlotte, Mark Williams is out, and Daquan Jeffries is out. So Barnes, Quickley, that's huge. That's ball handlers. That's scorers. That's a lot of usage to go around. Last game, we got gigantic minutes from Jakob Poeltl as well. So we want to see whether, is that a real thing that's going to hold? Can he bump some assists up with all of the point guard, ball handler types out? Maybe. In Charlotte, Miles Bridges, I'd say, has been fine. I wouldn't say he's taken full advantage of Brandon Miller being out. So let's just see how he fits into the rotation there. In terms of streaming, there's a lot of options in Toronto. Davion Mitchell, go Grady Dick if he's available. Davion Mitchell will be the next one. Otherwise, you might look at a Chris Boucher, probably not. Maybe it's John Mobo who starts. There's a lot of different ways that they can go in that position. Obviously, there's no Olynyk, there's no Brown. They can't slide in there. So Mitchell will start for Quickly, and then it's who starts at the 4. It's probably going to be Barrett and Abaji who starts at the 3 and the 4, and even Abaji, who's been really good for 3 games in a row, he might be worth a look as well. I don't know the severity of Barnes' injury. It doesn't seem great. So I'm expecting multiple games out. This will give us a good indication, but I think someone like a Mobo or a Baji, if you want to take that early crack at it and see what happens, we're just guessing, of course, as to how it plays out, but they seem to be the number 1 contenders there. The next game of the day we're looking at is Atlanta and Washington, and talk about gigantic, unbelievable, out-of-nowhere injury reports. What happened with the Hawks? What the hell was that? Anyway, we'll look schedule. The Hawks go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday with 4 games next week, and the Wizards go Wednesday, Saturday with 3 games next week. And then the Hawks came out and said Dyson Daniels has a hip flexor strain. That's probably a week. They're saying he's day-to-day, but I'm going to say that's a week. Bogdanovic, hamstring tendinopathy, had surgery. He's out at least 4 weeks. He's droppable. Obviously, anytime you have open IL, you hold, but that you don't hold on to Bogdanovic out for 4 weeks. Kobe Buffkin, shoulder subluxation, out at least 4 weeks. He's gone as well. Vic Krejci, adductor strain. I talked about on the injury show. You leave a game with a soft tissue injury, you're going to be out. He's out at least 2 weeks. There are no guards left. It's Trae Young and... who? There's no one. DeAndre Hunter is also questionable with a knee thing. Keaton Wallace had to play minutes and he was terrible. So I think that... like Zach Ricochet is not really a guard, but he's going to have to play a lot. And that is something we need to watch. On the Wizards side, I didn't think there was anything that was particular. Actually, by the way, Okongwu is back, so that we know that one. I didn't think there was anything serious with Kyle Kuzma, but he's out with a groin issue. So yeah, and then Brogdon's out. So we have to watch Ricochet. There's a chance for big minutes, and not only big minutes, but no Daniels, no Bogdanovic, no Krejci, no Bufkin. That's ball handling. That's opportunities, and that's worth looking at. On the Wizards side, Bilal Coulibaly, invisible in the first half, great second half. Where's the reality there? What's the shooting going to be like? Can we bring defensive stats in? With Kuzma out, does he just do way more? That's possible. I also think that in terms of streams, like Ricochet is really the good option here. And the other one is going to be Corey Kispert, who, without Kuzma, will probably start. He'll get shots. And this is what Kispert needs to be a regular enough 12-team guy. I would wish they would start Keyshawn George and keep an eye on that for deeper leagues. But I think it'll be Kispert who gets first crack at that opportunity with no Kyle Kuzma. The next game of the day, we're looking at Detroit and Philadelphia here. We know that the Sixers are 4.5-point favorites. The Pistons go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday into 4 games in week 3. And the Sixers, this is the first game for them for the week, and they play Wednesday, Saturday. 2-game week into 4 next week. Isaha's out. Isaha Thompson, that is. Bobby Klintman is out. And Joel Embiid and Paul George remain out. So their next opportunity to play their first game is going to be on Saturday. Bad start to the season. Clearly, speaking of bad starts, Tobias Harris cannot shoot at the moment. The minutes are great. The rebounds are solid. The defensive stats are fine. He just cannot shoot. I do not believe that Tobias Harris, as much as we might think he's not very good, he's not a 35% shooter, so that is going to improve. But let's see. What we want to watch for is if all of a sudden he plays 25 minutes. That's where you panic. Not because he's not shooting. Caleb Martin, with everyone out, he's going to play a lot. So we just keep using him and we keep trying that and we keep streaming that. On the Pistons side of things, Tim Hardaway continues to start. He's very touch and go, but when you're looking for an opportunity for a points and threes guy, it's him or Malik Beasley. It's very hard to peg down which one of those guys is going to do what on a day, but that's just the nature of those sort of players and that style of game. The fifth game, it's the Lakers. It's the Cavs. The Cavs are 5-point favorites here, which is interesting. The Cavs are very, very good. The Lakers have been very good as well. The Lakers, 2 more games this week, Wednesday, Friday, then weekend off, and then 4 games in week 3, whereas Cleveland goes Wednesday, Friday, Saturday with 4 in week 3. Wood is out, Vanderbilt is out, and then 2 things came out of nowhere. D'Angelo Russell, questionable, and Austin Reeves, probable. We're not worried about Reeves, but the D'Lo one is intriguing. If D'Lo misses, then you think there is going to be more for Connect, and there's going to be more for Max Christie. Not enough to use them, but it would happen. And then Strus and Porter are the guys that are out for Cleveland. Austin Reeves, I talked about this, not enough, but I did talk about it in the preseason about how they were looking to prioritize him over Russell. Man, they prioritized him over LeBron yesterday. He's been ridiculously good, and while there is an element of sell high, I'm not sure how much there actually is. On the Cleveland side of things, Darius Garland also playing really well. Shooting is up. Let's see how the dynamic with him and Mitchell continues. In terms of streams, it probably is Jackson Hayes, but watch if Russell is out, because then you might have a Christie or Connect opportunity. And then Dean Wade, this is low-end stuff. He doesn't do that much. Karis LeVert, if he's available, you try it. But we know the ups and downs of the Karis LeVert experience. The next game, let's squeeze into the Knicks and the Miami Heat. The Knicks are 1.5-point favorites on the road here, and both of these teams have 2 more games left in the week. Wednesday, Friday for New York, into 4 the week after, and then Miami goes Wednesday, Saturday with 4 in week 3. Achua's out, Mitchell Robinson's out, and Josh Hart is questionable. If Josh Hart is out, we are just leaning into Juice McBride, and Kevin Love remains out for personal reasons. I want to watch Karl-Anthony Towns. He fouled out last game, played 32 minutes. He hasn't actually seen the big 37-minute Thibodeau bump. His usage has been not ideal. The team is sort of still figuring out what on earth they're doing. So we need to just watch how that continues to develop. And in Miami, last game, Jaime Jaquez played powerful minutes over Nikola Jovic. And that was interesting. He played 30-plus minutes. He not come anywhere close to that in any of the previous games. But is this the move going forward? That Jaquez comes off the bench and closes and plays 33? Or do we go back to 25 for him and 29 for Jovic? That's a key thing to watch. For the Knicks, like, Juice McBride's the stream, but if you want to go deeper, I think Ariel Hukporti would be someone to take a look at, or even Campaign. And for Miami, again, we're assuming Jaquez is gone. Tom Bryant can come in 14 minutes and provide little bits and pieces of value without, of course, being exciting at all. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime and Gametime Picks. Use Gametime Picks. It's the new feature over at Gametime to get tickets to see your favorite sporting team, go to see your favorite events without the hassle You take the guesswork out of buying those tickets because it cuts out the fluff. It shows you the best options available for you to go and buy those tickets to your favorite sporting event. So do it. Go to Gametime Picks. It's not just the Gametime Picks option. There's the all-in pricing, which you can turn on the app so that when you see a ticket, you see the full price. You don't have to wait for the fees to be added later on. There's the views from your seat as well. Every feature that Gametime has just makes your process better and easier. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. Okay. We're making decent enough time here. Let's go through to the next game of the day. We are talking about old mates, the Orlando Magic. Taking on Chicago, the trade revenge game. Orlando's goes Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Chicago just 2 more games, Wednesday, Friday. 4 games for both teams in week 3. John Isaac is questionable. Goga Badadze is questionable. And then added Chicago, Jalen Smith and Lonzo Ball both popped up as questionable. Lonzo with a wrist and Smith with an ankle. Smith was great last game, but he played like 12 minutes. That's really hard to rely upon. But we know if there's any shot of him playing 24 minutes, Jalen Smith, and he doesn't play any power forward at all, but if there's a chance that he gets minutes at center, then we pounce on that. Wendell Carter Jr. has been really good of late. This is against his former team. What we're watching is 26 or 31 minutes. That's the key thing. And then for the Bulls, is Vooch just going to be banging in 4 threes a game? Because he is absolutely on fire. I'd be using that as an interesting sell high proposition because I don't think that this level of three-point shooting, well, I've seen it for years. He can't do it. He's done it like 1 year. Let's see how that sort of sits, but he's been really, really good, Vooch, to start the season. In terms of streams, it's probably Mr. Black for the Magic, who's getting a lot of minutes. Franz Wagner is in this game. He missed the second half with illness of the last one, so he's okay. And Black got really big minutes. Now, I don't think that he's anything more than a stream guy for desperation, defensive stats, and assists, but his play has been much better. And then for the Bulls, it's probably Ayo Dosunmu, who's really hovering around being 12-team rosterable, given the role. But if Lonzo is out, will we see it go up? Probably not. Like, we didn't really see gigantic stuff from Dosunmu in the game that Lonzo missed already, but that is always something to watch, and he's always just going to hover there as someone who's providing a solid enough value. The next game we take a look at, we are up to the 8th game of the day. It's Brooklyn and Memphis. The Nets have a back-to-back, so they're playing on Tuesday, obviously. Then they go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday with 3 games in week 3, whereas Memphis goes Wednesday, Thursday, so that's a back-to-back for them, and then Saturday. So they've got a 3-game in 4-night stretch here, hitting into 4 in week 3, and there are a million players out. Day'Ron Sharpe is out. Bojan Bogdanovic is out. Trenton Watford is out. Ben Simmons is back. He will miss on Tuesday. He will play on Wednesday. And then for Memphis, G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams, Luke Kennard, they're all out. And then, oh yeah, love to get a new entry onto the injury report. Ja Morant, still questionable, like what is going on there. Zach Edey, now questionable. You do not need to roster Zach Edey, I don't believe. And the other one is John Conchar. If those guys all miss, it helps. Oh, if Zach Edey is out, we are smashing J Huff. Obviously, Scottie Pippen, the value is there. There is so many things that continue to be weird. And if all these guys are out, like Jake LaRavia becomes an option. Santi Aldama's value goes up. But there's just a lot of stuff that we don't know at this point. In terms of what we're watching, well, it's really Pippen's role. Pippen's role when Morant plays is more important to watch versus Pippen's role when Morant is out because that's an obvious one. In terms of streaming, Finney-Smith is probably the guy in Brooklyn that we stream, but you don't feel good about it. And then in Memphis, like J Huff could really blow up. If Zach Edey misses, I'd be very, very big on adding J Huff. In fact, I'm okay with doing it because Edey's bad. Huff's been good. Converted contract, opportunity to start off with a really big, big game here. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. The next game of the day, we are talking about the San Antonio Spurs going to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder are 13-point favorites here. This is Wemby versus Chet. It's going to be pretty interesting. The Spurs are Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, so a 3-game in 4-night little run of things with 4 games in week 3, while the Thunder play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday with 4 games in week 3 as well. Trey Jones and Devin Vassell are both out for San Antonio, while Hartenstein, Pig Williams, and Kenrich Williams are all out for the Thunder. Jeremy Sohan's the guy to watch. He's just not taking threes anymore. He's been seeing his usage rise and his efficiency rise. I'd like to see more in the defensive stat realm, but his assists have been good. He's been very good, and he should be rostered. For the Thunder, is Alex Caruso just a 21-minute-a-night player? Because he got the defensive stats last game, but that means nothing for points leagues usually, or as a general rule. And in category leagues, it just is tough. Like, you get the steals, that's great, but 2 points and a rebound is very, very detrimental to building up those categories. So his role is important. Keldon Johnson's probably the stream in San Antonio if Sohan's already picked up, and then Lou Dort, is, and I don't like that I'm a Lou Dort supporter, but he's just not rostered anywhere. And he's not very good, but he is an excellent stream guy. The minutes are secure. He has the opportunity to actually provide some value. So I just think that he continues to be, for whatever reason, the reason he's bad, under-rostered. The next game we take a look at here, second last game of the day for Wednesday. It is a team, or two teams, that both play on Tuesday. It's the Pelicans and the Warriors. So we're going to get some more information, especially about the Warriors on Tuesday. Both of these teams, not both these teams. The Pelicans go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday after this one. So they've got a nice little run of games, and the Warriors play 2 more Wednesday, Saturday. 3 games in week 3 for New Orleans and 4 for the Warriors. Trey Murphy's out, DeJounte Murray's out, and we know that Steph and Melton are out. Andrew Wiggins is out on Tuesday, and I'm not sure whether he will be available on Wednesday. I'm going to list him questionable at the moment. In terms of streams, like if Jordan Hawkins and Eve Missy are not picked up, you use them. Otherwise, I think we go to Daniel Tice for New Orleans. And then in Golden State, like I put Kyle Anderson here, but yeah, look at Buddy Hield and Kuminga first and Pajemski first. But we also just don't know. Like it could be Moses Moody, but we will get a better indication of how Steve Kerr decides to run this. Is he going to throw Guy Santos? What my man, the Vulture, Reese Beekman? Is they going to get minutes on Tuesday? Like we just don't know at this point. It is it's too early to call on that part of it because we get to see it on Tuesday. The final game before we take a look at the streams of the day is the Portland Trailblazers and the LA Clippers. The Clippers are 8-point favorites. The Blazers go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday with 4 games next week, and the Clippers go Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday with 4 games. And then injury-wise, it's much of the same stuff. Sharp is out. Thibault is out. I expect Rob Williams is out. I've got him listed doubtful. I think he's out. I think he's actually officially out now. Kawhi Leonard out, and Mo Bamba is out. In Portland, I want to see Denny Avdija because he's not shooting well. He's not involved offensively as much. His minutes aren't even pushing super high. We hold for now, but it's not looking great at this point. And while for the Clippers, Derek Jones Jr. has been really good. He's been putting up very strong numbers, and I expect that he's able to sort of keep that role going, but we just need to focus in on him. He's a nice 14-team guy, Derek Jones. In terms of streams, we do stream Derek Jones, and Tamani Kamara will continue to start with Sharp out. He's a little hit or miss, but when you're looking at those things, you look at who's got the opportunity, and at the moment, Kamara does have solid enough opportunity. Okay. That'll bring us through to take a look at the schedule portion of the show to figure out what we're actually, what we're watching for across, taking advantage of the way the schedule might play out in the NBA. And we start off just by looking at who's got the Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back combos and guys that are over 50% available that you might be able to use there. So it's Sohan, it's Pippen, it's the Horse, Keldon Johnson. We go to Bubbles, Julian Champagny. We go to Jay Huff, who we just talked about. And then when desperation really sets in, you go to the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. Yeah, but that is, like I said, desperation stuff. In terms of, in terms of the chunks, so we're going Wednesday through to Sunday, all of these guys are available widely, and they have 3 games in those final 5 days. It's Sohan, it's Wendell Carter, Scoot Henderson, Scottie Pippen, Trey Mann, and Karis LeVert. Get a 3-game in 5-night little run from all of those players, and I think that makes quite a bit of sense. Lastly, we go through and we take a look at the daily streaming options. The streams of the day. We'll start off with that. Remember, just always going up and down the list as necessary. The 10-teamer is Caleb Martin. 12-team is Patrick Williams, and I don't feel good about that. 14-team is Ayo Dosunmu, and 16-team Corey Kispert. That could obviously change with injuries. Like Jay Huff would jump up into that spot. Isaiah Jackson would become probably the top player there if Miles Turner is out. For Yahoo points and ESPN points, Andre Drummond is still widely available. You definitely stream him in and you use him in this situation. This is what Andre Drummond is built for. These games when Embiid is out. If we look at the 10-team stream list, we go to Caleb Martin, Patrick Williams, Andy Nembhard, Karis LeVert, Ayo Dosunmu, and Corey Kispert. Opportunities for all of those players there. For 12-teamers, we go through those same players there. Obviously, then it's Kyle Lowry. We've got Seth Curry, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Lou Dort, Jay Huff. All this stuff. If Edie's out, Huff is right up the top. If Turner's out, Jackson's right up the top. So, yeah, we have to always be aware and ready to pounce on those individual situations. For deeper league scenarios, Bub Carrington, Kaysen Wallace, Tamani Kamara, Keyshawn George, Davion Mitchell, and Tim Hardaway. Now, you might not even have full roster spot availability to stream guys in, but there are a lot of opportunities, and some of them, like Huff, like Pippen, like even Jackson, or even like a Mobo in Toronto, that might have a little bit more longevity to it. And even like in Atlanta with Ricochet, with 1 million players out for all that period of time. If we look now at some Yahoo Points League stream guys, these are all 50% plus available. We go to Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre, Jeremy Sohan, Caleb Martin, Nick Richards, and Wendell Carter Jr. And lastly, to look at stream options, it's ESPN Points Leagues. A lot of the same names. In fact, I think they're all the same apart from one. Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre, Jeremy Sohan, Caleb Martin, Big Dick Nick Richards, and Alexander Sarr. And that was an absolute rapid-fire run-through of those 11 games. Apologies if I didn't hit on things in as much detail as needed. We just were running out of time. So, hit the thumb up, subscribe, double bang, leave comments, and we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.